In the darkest corners of a forest untouched by the mercy of civilization, where the ancient trees bore witness to untold secrets and whispered them only to the wind, our tale unfolds, a tale that will send a chill racing down your spine and haunt your dreams henceforth. Meet Daniel, a wanderer of lonesome paths and seeker of solitude, who ventured into the depths of the woods one fateful eve, never to emerge unscathed. As the sun dipped beneath the horizon, casting eerie shadows like malevolent phantoms, Daniel found himself ensnared in nature's labyrinth. The gnarled branches reached out like skeletal fingers, pointing him deeper into the abyss, and despair clawed at his chest. Hours bled into one another as Daniel's desperate journey seemed to have no end. His breaths grew shallow, his strength waned, and it appeared as if the forest itself conspired to become his eternal tomb. But then, as the darkness tightened its grip, a feeble glimmer beckoned him through the murk. With hope reborn, Daniel followed that faint, ethereal light, each step a testament to his dwindling resolve. Emerging from the oppressive gloom into a small moonlit clearing, he beheld a dilapidated cottage, ancient and foreboding, where the light flickered behind time-worn windows. And there, dear viewers, our tale takes its first dread-filled breath, for beyond that creaking door awaits a twisted fate, a horrifying revelation, and a night that will forever haunt the trembling soul of Daniel. Inside the cottage, the air was thick with the musty scent of age, and the dimly lit room felt suffocatingly close. The old woman with gnarled hands that betrayed centuries of living stood before him. Her eyes, though kind, held an enigmatic wisdom, like a deep well of secrets Daniel dared not plumb. "Come in, child," she crooned, her voice as soft as a whispering breeze. Exhausted and starving, Daniel hesitated only for a moment before crossing the threshold. The door closed behind him with a hauntingly final thud, as if sealing his fate. He was ushered to a worn wooden chair by a dimly flickering candle. The room itself seemed to breathe, its time-worn timbers groaning and settling. The old woman served him a steaming bowl of stew, and the aroma that wafted from it was divine. Freshly baked bread, warm and inviting, accompanied the meal. The food, as Daniel discovered, was an exquisite revelation. It was as if he had never tasted anything so mouth-watering in his entire life. Each bite was a symphony of flavors, and every sip of the hearty broth was a comforting embrace that filled his empty stomach. Unbeknownst to Daniel, his ravenous feasting was observed by the old woman with an unsettling glint in her eye, a glint that spoke of hidden intentions and dark desires. As he savored the last morsel, a creeping sense of unease settled over him. It began as a nagging suspicion and grew into a bone-deep dread as he watched the old woman's form shift and contort. As Daniel sat in the dimly lit cottage, the transformation of the old woman began, each horrifying change more grotesque than the last. First, her fingers elongated into skeletal claws, her knuckles cracking and popping as they extended. Next, her skin began to stretch and split, revealing sickening glimpses of sinew and bone beneath as if her body were a tattered cloak slipping from her frame. Her eyes, once kind and inviting, turned bloodshot and malevolent, their whites slowly bleeding into a sinister crimson hue. Her spine twisted and contorted, causing her hunched form to straighten and loom over Daniel like a macabre specter. And finally, her mouth unhinged with a bone-chilling snap, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth that glinted in the candlelight, hungry for their gruesome purpose. The old woman had shed her human disguise, revealing her true, monstrous nature as a Wendigo in all its terrifying glory. The truth, like a dagger in the heart, struck Daniel with paralyzing fear. The woman he had thought of as his savior was in fact a creature far more sinister, the dreaded Wendigo. A wicked grin spread across the Wendigo's skeletal face as she revealed her true form. Her emaciated frame towered over Daniel, casting an oppressive shadow that smothered the room's feeble candlelight. Her skeletal fingers, now elongated and claw-like, reached out with malicious intent. As the Wendigo lunged towards him with an insatiable hunger in her eyes, Daniel's survival instincts kicked into overdrive. With heart pounding and adrenaline surging, he scrambled backward, his fingers clawing at the ancient creaking floorboards. The room seemed to close in around him, the very walls shifting and warping as if the cottage itself conspired against him. In the dim, flickering candlelight, the old woman's elongated, claw-like fingers missed him by mere inches, her monstrous maw snapping shut with a sickening, teeth-rattling clack. The door swung open with a reluctant groan, and Daniel stumbled into the moonlit night. The forest, once a labyrinth of treacherous shadows, now seemed to offer him an escape route. He ran, heedless of the branches that clawed at him, the roots that threatened to trip him, and the eerie howls of the Wendigo that echoed through the trees. With each frantic step, he distanced himself from the wretched cottage and its monstrous inhabitant. The moon above cast an ethereal glow upon his path, guiding him to safety as if the very forest itself had taken pity on his harrowing escape. Though he emerged from that nightmarish encounter with his life intact, the memory of the old woman's monstrous transformation and her relentless pursuit would forever haunt Daniel's every waking moment, serving as a chilling reminder that in the realm of the supernatural, survival often hinges on the thinnest thread of fate. Days later, Daniel emerged from the forest, emaciated and haunted by the horrors he had witnessed. The taste of that delicious stew would forever be tainted by the knowledge that sometimes, in the heart of darkness, even a savior can be the most insidious of monsters. And so, dear viewers, the tale of Daniel's harrowing encounter with the Wendigo serves as a chilling reminder that in the realm of the supernatural, where the line between salvation and damnation is perilously thin, one must always tread with caution and never trust appearances, for even in the most inviting of circumstances, malevolent forces can lurk, waiting to feast upon the unsuspecting.